Hello and good evening, and welcome back to 60 Days of Learning. Currently on day 34, continuing on the debug overlay. So, as part of the debug overlay, what I worked on was just getting the enemies in the overlay itself. So, as an enemy is spawned, as an enemy is damaged, or as an enemy is defeated or causes damage to the base, we're providing a little more insight into those specific events. Now, I'm kind of looking at what I have now. So in just a moment, I'm actually going to show you. But I have separated the level information, which is just the top portion talking about the specific level, waves in the current wave, and the enemies, instead of having all of them on a single tab. If you remember at the end of day 33, I was talking about the information that I would need to move over to the enemies, and I felt like there was actually quite a bit of information. So the pieces that were moved over here, there is still quite a bit. Maybe that's nice to have for enemies, or level per that level we still have our individual states that we're in. But today we are going to focus on enemies. So next, let's go ahead and take a look at the game. Let's go ahead and just walk through this and talk about what's been done. So if we look at the page here, we're going to start over on the enemies tab because that's what I have shown as visible on here. So let me go ahead and swap that so it stays that way next time. All right, cool. What you see on here are the number of enemies that are going to be spawned on this wave. The information at the top is based on the individual wave and not the entire game in general. That might be a nice little thing to add on there, is the current wave information and then the overall level information. As you see at the bottom, spawning goblins. Let me go ahead and defeat some of these because we don't want or need every single one of these to be alive at the end. So I don't want the game to be over that quick. Let's go ahead and just defeat some. We want less than 5. Okay. Now, what we can see on here currently, let's go ahead and just pause this. We have 10 enemies that have been spawned. We have a total of 10 enemies. 6 have been defeated. We have 4 of them which have not been defeated or have caused damage to the base. Currently it says we have 3 enemies on the board, which it looks like we may have a little bit of a bug still with the information being displayed on here. So in just a moment, we're going to actually take a look and see if we can figure out what in the world's going on there. Now, if we were to look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 enemies exist. We have our little scroller over here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 enemies that were not reporting being defeated. If we look at the 4, I would assume 2 of those had caused damage. Now, I have status as well. I'm just not displaying it yet. So I thought that's going to be something that's going to come. I've been moving data around to see kind of where it should be living. So 2 of those are enemies that are in the base, have caused damage to the base, and 2 of those have not been defeated. I'm going to assume this last one here is the one with 19 health, just assumption. So let's go ahead and resume. Now, we saw that it went from 2 down to 0 because we do a reset at the end of each. Taking a look at this, I'm not super excited about how the gameplay is happening. I would love more information on here, such as the individual status of the enemies. Currently, I have 3 status that I'm going to be displaying. Let's go ahead and look at that real quick. On the enemies tab, it's going to be pursuing, which means that they're going through. defeated and damaged base. Those will become constants or possibly enums just to keep things a little cleaner out here. But as the enemy is damaged, we're refreshing just to show the information on there. Now, but I think this is good for now. This is at least providing more information, providing some insight into the idea that we just don't have a lot of information. I have no idea which of those 4 actually caused damage to the base. The information up above was reset. So I have no idea how many enemies have actually been defeated and how many have caused damage. I see that I have 1 health left. I would imagine with those numbers I should have 5 and I should have no enemies at the bottom. So there needs to be a running total of enemies per wave. There should be a running total of enemies for the entire game so far for this session. And for defeated and caused damage and those numbers as well, I believe that we should have a wave and we should have a total. So wouldn't it be pretty cool just to see that a wave has 0 damage, but the wave before or one of the previous waves had 4? So next I'm going to break this enemy's section up a little bit, get a better understanding of what's going on in here. And then next after that, I'm going to be starting to add additional information into that level. So each time we change the state. So I hope you're able to find some useful information out of this one. I'm pretty excited about this debug overlay and how it's starting to come together. As I was mentioning before, it's showing that there's stuff lingering and we're not removing the enemies the way that we should be. So that is a pretty big red flag. And I'm very interested in seeing what we can do to fix that. Anyways, I hope you had a wonderful day and I hope you have a great evening. And I'll check with you tomorrow. Thank you very much.